We are based here, Iconovo, in Medicon Village and Medicon Valley, which is one of these vibrant regions in Europe. As you can see here, we have other clusters, of course, in Cambridge, but this region is actually pretty strong. And we have about 30 people. And you can see the management team up here comprising 6 people, including our founder, Oris Laszlo, quite experienced in inhalation and commercial management in general. The history of the company is that it's based on inhalers, which got the company started back in 2016. The company IPO'd in 2018. We built further capabilities in terms of formulation and analysis. And more recently, we have added biological substances, which are a little bit more difficult to work with in inhalation. As you can see in the bottom, we also have quite a few collaborators and partners around the world, and I'll come back to that in a few minutes. You can see here on a map the partners we have. We have partners in the US in terms of Amneal. We have partners in Korea in terms of BNC. We work with Intas in India, and we have 2 collaborators in Australia, namely Monash and Ina Respiratory. And then we have some of the local heroes that we are collaborating with. Arcete Pharma that works on a new asthma COPD drug. We have Kiox in Denmark, which works on more rare lung diseases. And we're working with Aphilogic in France that works on the nanofitins, let's call a smaller version of monoclonal antibodies. So a local base, but a global reach to partners. The platforms we have, you can see here, we have got started with EcoRes is the name of this inhaler that you see to the left. It's a copy, not an exact copy, but a near copy of Astra's Turbohaler. Further to the right, you see EcoPre, which is a copy of Glaxo's best-selling Ellipta device, which is one of the best-selling asthma COPD medicines globally. And then we have a copy type product of Novartis's Breezhaler called IcoCap. And then we have the very unique device EcoOne or EcoOne Nasal. The EcoOne Nasal is a respiratory, the world's first respiratory-driven single-dose inhaler. It can take up to 50 milligrams of powder, and it's very low priced in terms of manufacturing costs. So it's a very attractive device that also gets a lot of attention when we present at various conferences. We are very strong positioned in the market. We are one of the few global leaders that work in providing complete inhalation products. So we enable pharma companies to do complex medicine for dry powder inhalation, which is what we focus on. And we portray ourselves as a capital-light CDMO. And as I said, we have 3 strong competencies. We have the platforms, we have the formulation capabilities, and we have analysis of compounds as well. We work with quite a few other companies, both in this region, like Truly Labs, Magle, Galenica, and Amaze. But then we have partners in Europe in general, and Germany, and so on. So we sit in the middle as a spider and work with a lot of collaborators around us. The pipeline you see up here, it's quite a broad pipeline. EcoRes, we are working there, as I said before, with Amneal to make that progress further in development. On EcoPre, we have teamed up with an investment bank, Stifel, to help us find a partner, and that process is ongoing right now. And then we have the partners that I just described before in terms of BNC, in terms of Monash, and the others that I just mentioned. The business plan, if you will, is what you see up here. We have different business areas. We have generics that we can develop into new inhaled medicines. We have novel pharmaceuticals, which breaks into two segments. The novel pharmaceuticals, either biologics or new chemicals, or reformulated projects. And that is one very good example with the Danish Kiox, where we work with a reformulation of an existing product that goes into a very rare lung disease called ILD, abbreviated. We had different models. We work either as an inhalation CDMO. We work to strike license development agreements, or we can have direct sales in terms of inhalers, the 4 platforms that I talked about just before. We have set out to specifically exploit the 2 opportunities you see here in blue, which are reformulated or new substances, and I can give you an example of this in a short while. We're strongly positioned in a growing market. Of course, asthma COPD continues to grow handsomely. The dry powder market is roughly 15 billion, growing at a compound growth rate of 7%. But the segment, which comprises what we label new indications, grows a bit faster than that. And this is because inhalers or new products and medicines are coming in the inhaled form. You see that in cystic fibrosis, idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, and pulmonary hypertension. But you also see inhalation products starting to come into the CNS space, such as depression and migraine. And more recently, you've actually seen a very old product, glucagon, developed as an inhaled product, and it's actually starting to outbeat the old injectable glucagon products. So quite an interesting opportunity for us as a company. And we have sent out a press release about 2 weeks ago that we are targeting initially GLP-1 as a reformulated product. We are also looking into developing tyrosine kinase inhibitors, which work very well in non-small lung cancer as tablets, but there may be an opportunity also to look into inhaled TKIs to get a better control of the disease. And lastly, you can see our financial targets. We have set out targets for 2027, and that is to reach 250 million in sales, of which half is to come in as earnings or EBITDA. We've also said that we hope to break even in 2026 and hope to have a profitable quarter in 2024 and 2025. So this is the company in a nutshell.
Great, thank you so much, Henrik, for the presentation. So here someone is asking, you have a pipeline that is, they have quite the pipeline for a fairly small company. Do you see any risks with that?
There's always a risk. You can say that the collaborators will slow development or return products to the collaborators such as us. So I think that's the main risk with some of the collaborators we have. And then there is a financial risk to some of the collaborators we have. They may run into problem attracting and getting funding or financing. And this is what we have experienced for some of the collaborators we work with. Some are also work based on grants, and grant money may be less available to some of our partners. So that's, you can say, the collaboration risk in itself, and then there's a financial risk in general.
What's your strategy to try to mitigate those risks?
In terms of the financial risk, we've actually set up a program called Iconovo Accelerator, where we help smaller companies to attract grant money from EU. And in general, we try to support our partners as good as we can. But of course, we cannot provide funding to our partners. I mean, they have to get their money themselves.
Sure. There's an interesting question here about your latest announcement to project regarding the inhaled GLP-1 agonist. Could you talk a little bit more about this project's potential?
Well, it's easy to say that it has a huge potential because the market as such is growing quite rapidly. But we see it as an opportunity to come up with an inhaled product because the current market is largely comprised of injectable products. There is a tablet-based version of GLP-1, but the bioavailability of the tablet or GLP-1 in a tablet is very, very low. So we think we can come in with an inhaled product with a pretty good bioavailability, which may be quite attractive for some patients that don't want to use needles as such.
Sure. Are there specific markets you would target with this strategy?
I think obesity is the obvious one, of course, but
I mean regional markets.
Sorry?
I mean regional markets. Any specific regional markets?
I think obesity, if we target that, is a global phenomenon, so I don't think there's a specific region that is more eligible for this type of treatment than any other.
Speaking of financial risk, what's your plan to achieve profitability?
The plan, as I laid out in the last slide, is to break even in 2026. That's been a clear statement from the company for I think 1 or 2 years now. So I don't think we will. I don't think we will reach profitability until then. And what we promised for 26 is break even. We'll be real profitable in 2027 when some of the pipeline products that I highlighted will be launched in the market, and we will start to receive royalties from those products.
Well, the questions keep rolling in here. We have a little bit more time. With pricing and access becoming tougher for non-innovative, slightly better products, I'm just reading off the panel here, how do you balance this against your offering?
If we are getting what, sorry?
With pricing and access becoming tougher for non-innovative or slightly better products, how do you balance this against your offering?
I'm not sure how to answer that one. I mean, we're generally, faced with competition from generics. So that's the whole thing, and the whole idea of the company is to exploit those opportunities. That when products go generic, we can come with a new branded version with our inhalers. So I think it's exact that challenge, if you will, or opportunity that we are addressing with our strategy.
What would you say is the strongest part of your business model?
Well, the strongest part is the competencies that the company holds, because we are one of the very few companies that actually do inhalers. We have very strong knowledge in formulation and analysis, and there aren't that many companies that do this. So if you want to work in inhalation, then you should come work with Iconovo.
All right. Let me see here. Okay, there is someone who is really pushing for the profitability aspect of this. How do you reach profitability specifically? Can you be very specific about that?
Well, I can't be more specific than what I've said. It will be a combination of license income, and it will be a combination of royalties and possibly also milestone payments. But I can't be more specific than that.
Fair enough. Okay, finally, where do you hope Iconovo will be 3 years from now?
I'm hoping we will have the first products launched in the market, and I hope we will have a well-advanced reformulated product that we can out-license or talk with partners.
Great. Well, we'll catch up in 3 years, and we'll see.
Surely. Forward.
Thank you so much, Henrik, for your presentation.
Thank you.